Thinking about self-publishing and don't know where to start? Join the Spa Girls each week for a info-packed podcast filled with honest advice, tips and resources. And I still don't have that down, damn it. But it's okay. I'm Trudy J.
I'm Shah Barrett.
I'm Cheryl Phipps.
And I'm Wendy Valor.
And we are back for another episode of the Spa Girls podcast. And this week we have an awesome guest. As always, when do we never have an awesome guest? But today is Corinne O'Flynn.
Well, hi, everybody.
Welcome.
Hey, Corinne.
Hi.
So I met Corinne at a conference, a weekend conference, and we were in a breakout room together. And she talked about how she was had a website called The Calm Entrepreneur. And I knew that we had to have you on the podcast to talk about it because I'm not calm, and I just want to find out about how you can possibly be calm in this self-publishing world. So I'm going to read your bio. And then we're going to get right into it, okay, Corinne? And I will let you speak, I promise.
I'm ready.
Okay. Corinne O'Flynn is the founder of The Calm Entrepreneur, a place where entrepreneurs, particularly authors, can learn to take the stress out of running their businesses. She has 20 years experience being self-employed and is a self-published author with 3 pen names, 2 of which are USA Today bestsellers, which is awesome. She's also a wife, a mum of 4, and founder and executive director of a non-profit organization, and alpha to 3 very demanding blue heeler rescue dogs named Nora, Ruby, and Maisie.
Yay!
Wow.
Awesome.
That is
Pretty impressive.
overachieving. 4 children,
And
3
couple-
pen names, businesses.
Well, we know what causes the children, so we were able to
Yeah.
Move on from that.
Cut that out.
Can't help it with the pen names, though. We don't know what causes that.
Yeah. So, Corinne, can you start from the beginning and tell us how you got into self-publishing and tell us about your self-publishing journey first, and then we'll get on to this being calm business.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like one causes the other, I guess. I started self-publishing in 2014. Was the first book, and that book took 100 years to write. And then and I never really explored trad much. Like it really, I'm not very good with authority, so I have a bit of a rebel soul, I guess you'd say. And so indie authoring, when that, after 2011, I was online doing book blogging and that kind of stuff for other authors that were going indie, and it was becoming so big that I was like, this is something that's definitely for me. So I kind of started in 2014. My first book took literally like 12 or 13 years to write, just because I just didn't know what I was doing. And then I never looked back. I don't know how many titles I have now. I'm republishing a series because I broke them off, and I have a new pen name that's rebranded those. So, but I think I have 40 something titles out in the world. And I say titles, not books, because my contemporary stuff is all novellas. So maybe 3 of those equal a book. So 40 something titles.
Could you just tell us what genres you're writing in? Like, what are the...
So my Corinne pen name is paranormal, suspense, and urban fantasy, and maybe young adult fantasy. And then I have a paranormal romance who writes paranormal romance and reverse harem with witches and wolves and that kind of stuff. And then I have contemporary male, female novellas.
So just a couple of genres.
Yeah, just a couple. Yeah, so it was started out because a friend of mine writes, all of my friends write super steamy stuff, and I was always so afraid because I went to Catholic school and that whole thing. What would my mother think, kind of a thing. But then I co-wrote with my friend, and every time we got to a steamy scene, like she wrote the man, I wrote the woman, and whenever there was a woman's point of view sex scene, I was like, I can't do it. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm a grown woman. I can write this. And
You've
so
got 4 kids,
I realized,
you know how it works.
I know how it works. So then I was like, you know what, I'm going to try it. And I did it with the pen name because I do school visits as Corinne, and I don't want to have to deal with those parents, because as a parent, I would not appreciate it if like that happened. And my kids, well, I never really banned my kids from reading anything, but they're not drawn to that. But I didn't want to play that game. So yeah, so I separated out the pen names, and then I split off the 3rd one, and now I have 3. So it's
Wow. It is awesome.
Yeah, 2's more than enough for me.
You know what? It's a lot. The 3rd one is like the social media and the whole web. Like I did web development in the past, so the website stuff isn't an issue for me. But it's just a lot. It's just a lot.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It is a lot.
So in terms of that, so you started the Calm Entrepreneur. How did that come about? Like, where did that come from? Where did it?
Okay, so in 2018, I believe, I got invited into this shared world, it is a shared world, but it's not a shared world. It's a group of romance writers doing rapid release and writing to market in romance. And we had themes every single month, and there were like 20 of us, and we all wrote novellas, and we had this hot reader group, and every single month there was a new release. And it was, we're all going on spring break beach vacation, or it's, Independence Day, 4th of July in America. And so everybody's story was set with that theme, but otherwise not really a shared world. And that required rapid release every single month. And I did that for almost 2 years.
Oh my
And at the end, it was awesome because it taught me really to not be so precious about the writing, and I learned during that whole practice that I knew how to write a story. Like, I understood what the elements were. So I didn't have to worry about, well, is this going to work? And plotting became really methodical for me. Like I found a rhythm with how I tell a romance story. And then by the end of the second year, I was so tired of it. And I realized first that our readers were no longer able to keep up with us, because by that time other groups had started doing the same thing, and there was just, the readers were ravenous for it because it's just so much fun. And when our reader group started slowing down with, hey, I'm behind on like just trying to catch up with all the things that are being released, I realized, like, wow, I'm behind. Like, I'm not as interested in doing this. And I'm feeling kind of like, oh, I have to write, as opposed to, wow, I get to write. And that, I think, was the big tipping point for me. Like, the moment that something starts to feel like I have to do it, like, we're indie authors, we get to choose what we want to do, right? So if I have to do something, that's a huge red flag for me. And that was the beginning. And then I kind of hobbled along for a little bit longer, and also managing at this point in time only my one other pen name, who was also trying to rapid release, but those are full length, and that was just not working. And I was like, I was losing my mind trying to keep up, but the money was coming in because we were writing to market and rapid releasing. And so we were hitting the algos, and that was all hot back then. And it was tasty, and it was hard to jump off,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
It's
Did you want to learn, like,
yeah,
go
it's
ahead.
one thing if something's not working, but it's another thing to jump off when something is working.
When it is working, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But though, like, how many people do you know that have like walked away from lucrative jobs, or because if it's not all in alignment, it's not worth it in whatever way, right? Yeah, I see Cheryl's raising her hand. Like, and I've done the same. Like, my husband's done the same. Like, you really do an assessment, and you're like, well, wait a second. Like, if all you're doing it for is the money, then that's all you're going to get out of it. And like, I was writing so rapidly and releasing so rapidly that I wasn't invested in any of my releases. I wasn't really, it was like, oh look, I had a book out today. Oops, sorry, I forgot to post it online. Like, we were on autopilot, and like, not just me, like the whole group of us, like I was witnessing, like, we're all on autopilot, we're all kind of stressed out about this, and we're not loving this the way that we used to. So it's, it changed for me. And then the group actually slowed down. We still are doing this, but it's quarterly instead of monthly. And everything adjusts accordingly, financially, and the algos and all of those things. But I'm happier because I'm now enjoying it again, as opposed to feeling like I have to do something. But that was a hard one. It was a hard decision to say, I can't, and I don't want to,
So was that when you talk about on the Calm Entrepreneur website, you talk about or maybe you didn't, maybe you just talked about it to us, that you felt burnt out. That was when you were feeling burnt out and you had to stop and reassess and figure stuff out. So, and then that's what led to the Calm Entrepreneur, or did that take a while to?
It wasn't instantaneous, not at all. So right at the beginning of my slowdown, we had a pandemic, and then the world shut shifted and shut down, and all 4 of my kids were then homeschooling, and that was a joy. And I'll be the first to admit that anxiety wise, I was like, holy cow, like I am a germaphobe in the best of times. Like this was like, we were washing our groceries. Remember that when we were wiping our groceries down?
Yeah.
So like, it was just, I was one of those people that was like, holy cow, I don't know how to function. And in the meantime, I had pre-orders and I had stuff that I had to hit, and I had editor deadlines. I had all the things that were still happening. My business was going on, and I was like, okay, well, I have to do this. And it was really, really hard. And I realized during the beginning of the pandemic time period, when the shock wore off and I was actually able to get back to work, that I was not enjoying myself. I was forcing myself to sit at my desk, and I was napping a lot. And that's like, everybody has like a response, I guess, a trauma response to, because burnout's trauma, right? Everybody has a response. And for me, it's like, I get really tired and I get really like sleepy, and I need to nap and I need to regroup. And that's just really me shutting down. And I had joked about it, like when we were talking earlier, like, when you start planning your whole day around this gigantic nap that you know is going to be happening, then you know that something's wrong, right? Yeah. So, and some people can nap and get on with their day. And I'm a professional napper. Like if you look at my bio, and I think it's on my Corinne page, I talk about being a professional napper, like a 20-minute nap every day. It's like magic. But we're talking like hours long, and just not being able to get the oomph back. And I was like, I talked about losing my mojo, and I was like, I'm not sure what's going on. And then I realized I'm in burnout. Like this is what burnout looks like. And I've read a lot about burnout, and I went to there's a book called Burnout by is it Nagoski, Emily Nagoski and her sister. I shouldn't even say I can't remember their names. And I identified with all of these different pieces that identified what burnout was. And whether or not I had read a book about it, I identified like, this is whatever I'm doing right now is no longer sustainable. And clearly my body is telling me you're not into it anymore. And I wasn't on fire for it. And so I started like doing what I do as writers do. I started writing about it and processing, and I process a lot by journaling. And I realized that the only way through this is to like, I have obligations I must meet. How am I going to do it? And so I started over. Like I cleared my deck. I literally cleared off my desk. I rearranged everything that was on my desk. I broke out a notebook that I hadn't used before and made a list of all the things that have to happen and the due dates. And I have a planner that we were talking, I'll share with you, and I just really went back to the simplest, most basic thing and slowed myself down. Like as an overachiever, I get more done in a day than most people do in a week, kind of thing. And that's a point of pride. Like that's kind of bananas. And slowing it down, I was able to get back to simple to-dos and getting like one thing done a day mindfully and getting something done well that I'm like, okay, I'm happy with that work. And then I can move on to the next thing. And in the midst of all of that, I started writing a book about burnout. So I was doing all this research about burnout, and I was crafting this whole outline and this proposal for this book that I was maybe going to shop. I didn't know what I was going to do with it. And then I realized I'm not out of burnout yet. Like this isn't, I can't talk about this. So I kind of did a reassessment and I stopped that. And then I started sharing with my friends and it's funny because I also am one of those people that doesn't really share when I'm in trouble, like with my peers. And I don't know what that is about, but maybe a part of it is about being, I'm the one you go to when you need the answers. I don't need help. Right. So that was hard for me. And when I did that, I realized that I am not alone. Like everybody around me was struggling, not just because of the pandemic and stuff like that, but just because we're all like indie land went kind of bananas with the right to market and the rapid releasing and the craziness. And like it's really hard. And so that's how the Calm Entrepreneur was born, because I started doing like mini coaching calls with like 3 or 4 friends and working through something and getting people back on track. And then I found this woman who wanted me to mentor her into a brand new indie publishing career. And I was like, I have no business doing that. Like, but I do know what the business is about, but I felt so broken and so off kilter at the time. And that process actually helped me get back to basics, which is really what I talk about with the Calm Entrepreneur. The discovery of the Calm Entrepreneur as a business is because I don't know how to not run a business. I'm a serial entrepreneur, right? Everything is a business. But I felt like there was a lot of value in teaching the basics, because a lot of people, indie authors in particular, we're writers first, not business people first. And I'm a business person first and happen to be a writer. And so I have a handle on systems and organization techniques and mindset practices that are teachable. And people always say, oh my gosh, Corinne, you're so organized. And I'm like, well, you're not organized, you just haven't learned how. And people think it's a personality trait, and I say no, it's a skill you can definitely be taught. So that's what the Calm Entrepreneur is about. It's about learning how to build the foundation upon which any business needs to run, and do it in a way that is sustainable and manageable by somebody who may not have a background in any kind of systems, so that when the crap hits the fan, you have that to fall back on. Like that becomes your baseline. You don't have to start from zero and build again. You land back on the bottom of the top of your foundation. So that's what that's about.
That's awesome.
That's a long answer. Sorry.
That's great.
That's a good answer.
So if someone's starting, like they're listening to this and going, oh my God, that's me. I need to find some of this Calm entrepreneur. I can't even say that word.
I love how you guys say it.
How do you say it?
Calm entrepreneur, but you're like, no.
Entrepreneur.
Calm entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Entrepreneur.
Yeah. Anyway, for someone who needs a bit of that, where would you start? Like, how do I do what you did and just clear my desk and stay?
So if you realize that you hit the wall and you want to start over, yeah. So anytime that, and this is even before the Calm Entrepreneur, like I used to do project management, I used to do assistant work. Anytime you feel like you are so overwhelmed because you took on too much, or you have not taken on anything new, but your life kind of took over, or you're doing the same, and a pandemic happens and your brain is just not functioning the way that it used to. Like anytime you feel like you're just losing your grip, if you can physically clear off your desk, and even if you don't have a place to put this stuff, like just put it over there in a pile that you're not looking at, and get a notebook and make a list and take a ruler. I have a ruler right here on my desk all the time because my notebook has, I cleared my desk for my podcast. My notebook has a line on it where everything happens on the other side of the line, which, I mean, it sounds so ingenious, but it's not. It just keeps it organized. And you can then put check marks. And so you just write everything that needs to get done. And then if it has a due date, you put a due date on it. And if it's required by some outside thing, tend to that first. If it can be canceled, cancel it. But if it's all like self-made and you have 15 pre-orders and you have all these things that have to happen, and we know what that's like, all you need to do is really just regroup and make a list so that you know where you're at, and then pick the next thing. Like it's so simple. It sounds like kind of silly to say that that's advice that you paid for, but that's really what it is. Like when you are in overwhelm, what's really happening is like your energy is way up here and you're vibrating and everything's really tight and there's no room, and you need to deep breathe and come back down into your body where everything is here. And so then, and when you're up here, you can't access anything. So you need to slow it down. And the way that you slow it down is by showing your brain, oh, I have a list, and all I have to do is one thing, and then the next thing, and then the next thing, and don't let yourself do more than one thing. And that is something that I think that, we talk about multitasking and as if it's like this amazing skill, and it's toxic. It's, there's a book called The Practicing Mind by Thomas Sterner, Sterner. It's a tiny little book. And it talks about single focus and his journey toward really understanding the power behind it. And I'm a huge fan of that book. It's something I actually talk about on the Calm Entrepreneur website and the blog.
Is it
But,
the piano example he gives in the
Yes,
example?
yes, the piano tuner. Yeah. It's wonderful because so quickly, piano tuner with the tri-state, Philadelphia, Boston, and New York Philharmonic, and he's going back and forth all over the place to get these pianos tuned, and there was too many pianos to do in a day. And he was at his breaking point, and he decided that, you know what, I can't do it the way I used to do it. I'm going to just focus on one. So instead of having 4 pianos in the room and doing, you know, key 1, key 1, key 1, key 1, key 2, key 2, key 2, key 2, he did all the keys on one piano and then moved to the next piano and did the next and the next and just focused. And when he was done, he figured he'd get some dinner on the way and like explain his problems to the other Philharmonics that he couldn't get to in time, but do them overnight. And when he got to his car, it was lunchtime. Like he had gotten more done so much more quickly because he was so singly focused. And I think that we worry, I think, and I like with the people that I've coached and the people and just my friends that I've spoken to, when we slow down, we worry that we're going to miss it and we're going to not get it all done and we resist it, when slowing down is actually the medicine. It's the way through, and you get more done by slowing down because then you don't have anything else distracting you. So
yeah,
I mean, it makes sense. It just feels counterintuitive, doesn't it?
It feels, you know what, it feels like you're dying. It feels like like I put it here. It feels like something's choking, and it's like it's a terrible
brain scramble, right? Like just for me, it's like I don't know which direction to go in. You know, like I've got all these things, so I don't know what to do. You know?
And if I do just, you know what, I'll do this and then I'll do this. And then when it's funny. And then we get into this habit, like I personally do this. I have a spreadsheet. I use a spreadsheet for everything. And I have a spreadsheet with all of my writing projects and all the due dates. And then like the upload dates and the date that has to be finished by. And then like, and it bounces all the way back and it shows me how many days I have until today. And like this, it's ridiculous. And as soon as I clear everything,
I'm a bit nervous hearing about that.
It's the project manager talking.
Well, it goes into 2025 now, so that it gives plenty of space. But before it didn't go into 2025, it was just a list with the dates that I had, and it was like, oh, but I've got a week in there. I can move everything up a week. And then I was packing it back in, and I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, why do we fill our day like this? It's bananas. Just because I can doesn't mean I should. So it's a discipline as well as anything else.
And I think the lesson from the piano tuner is that we think that if we're packing it in like that we're somehow going to get more out of it, like that we're going to do more and achieve more and get more money and have better books or do something. And actually you get less from that because you kind of head towards things like burnout. And actually if you just focus and do one thing at a time, you get more done and you can achieve more by doing it like that. And
how is it we can be impressed by someone who does that? You know,
well,
a lot of the society.
All we see is the result, right? All we see is the fact that they're successful, right?
And I also think for a long time, multitasking was sold as the ideal. Like you had, you know, you're juggling all these balls in the air and you're keeping, you know, with a smile on your face and, you know,
basically
we're sold a crock basically on that.
What you're saying is men have got it right then.
Because we're the ones that can multitask.
Yeah, you know, and in Kate Northrup in her Do Less book, she talks about how we are working in a system that was created by cis white men who had wives and children at home, wives handling everything at home, and they went, and there's nothing, not a bashing of men. I have a house full of men. I love them all. But the system of patriarchy was not built for people who are also doing all the things and working and you know, but that's something else that I talk about in the whole process of becoming the calm entrepreneur. Becoming a calm entrepreneur, when you want to become a calm entrepreneur, a big tenet of that is falling back in love with the reason why you're doing what you're doing. Like fall in love with your work again. You should love what you're doing. Like we chose this because we love it. Like where did that go? Like, so that is with the practicing mind. He talks about that, falling in love with the process. Like this is a meditation. I love what I'm doing. I'm good at what I do. And this is something that makes me feel whole. That's what we're craving. I think that's the opposite of burnout.
The difference between chasing something off in the distance and when I get there, I'll be successful, and I'm successful because I'm doing it right now. And this is awesome.
Yes.
You know,
and that, well, and also what you just said was I'm chasing this thing off in the distance, and you're chasing something external. And like, there's this whole conversation about, like, you know, you talk about the where we met, like the laws and all the energy, and people get all weirded out about it. But like, when you're in alignment, you're in oneness. You are here in your body, and you are looking to yourself for guidance. And when you are in the zone, you're actually tapping into spirit, and you're getting all the downloads, and you're doing all these things, and it actually feels like this, right? But when you're looking out here at what someone else is doing and saying, I want that because what they're doing is successful, you're actually popped out of oneness, and now you're in duality, where there's this us versus them, me versus them, right and wrong, and black and white. And the only way back is to like stop and be like, okay, you know what? I saw that. I didn't mean to go there. Like, let's correct and get back in here. I forgive myself. And now my eyes are back on my own paper, and I am only looking into myself for what's right and for that validation. I think that, you know, we're so comparative, and you know, it's just not a game to play.
And it becomes quite a habit to be that comparative as well. You know, I mean, it's very easy to fall into and to relapse into that. I think for a lot of us, you know, you're looking at
everybody. I don't think anyone's. But and I think though, what we, again, I mean, I'm not the first, this is not even a new thing, but like, we're seeing everyone's end result. We're not seeing the struggling that they're doing. We're not seeing.
You're seeing the Instagram pic, aren't you, of the final product?
And
whether that's the life or that's the book kind of
what
thing.
they gave up to achieve it.
Right.
What the trade-off was.
Because there's always a trade-off, right? It's like that the law of sacrifice, right? What are you going to give? But I don't know. I think it's a dangerous thing to really cling to that as a measure of success, because we know, I think all of us know, that multitasking and burning the candle at both ends is not, you know, you might get all the results, you might get the bookshelf full of books and all the bestseller tags and all this stuff, but then at what cost? Like, are you miserable doing this? Like, are you checked out at home because you just so unable to keep it? All of it.
So right.
There's a cult of busyness. I feel like there's this idea of you have to be busy, and if you're not busy, there's something wrong. And so that's really hard to push back against as well. Is that kind of something you found? Or
oh, absolutely. It's that, you know, who talks about it? Simon, is it Sinek?
Oh, yes.
This toxic push. Like we are addicted to it. It's like anything else, like this, but there's also the other side of busyness, is like busyness for the sake of busyness is actually procrastination, and procrastination is based in fear of something. And, you know, there's a difference between, you know, when you're stuck, right? And you figure out like, well, like for me, when I was in the heat of my burnout, I was like, but I got so much done today. Look at my list. And it was like a whole bunch of non-needle moving actions, right? It was a day full of stuff that meant nothing. But I felt good and I got it all done. And so my brain's like, yay, you know, celebrate, go have a nap, right? And but the truth, sorry, they're insidious. They're terrible. But it's to the point, well, this is not because of my burnout naps, but like I told you, you said in my bio that I have 3 blue heeler dogs. When I say, okay, girls, it's nap time, they go right up to my room. They know exactly what's happening. So and everyone has their place, you know, we all do our thing. But including me, like I'm well trained and I know where to go. But I think that the idea of frantic busyness, like this frenetic push to, like, if I'm not doing anything, something's wrong. That was something that when I started like really identifying that I was in burnout, one of the first things I did was I pulled back. And that's something that I like, it's in my nature as a person, like ever since I was little. If things were just not going well, I just clam up, right? And I dropped off social media. I stopped binge watching everything. I started journaling. and I tried to read a book, and a paper book as opposed to a Kindle book or anything, listening on audio. And I had the hardest time focusing on reading. And I was like, I've lost my ability to move slow. Like, and, you know, and I'm a high energy person. Like I have always doing a lot of things, but I always had a really nice yoga, meditation, slow practice. And over the course of whatever this was that pushed me into burnout, I lost that. And I, like, you know, you get into the doom scrolling and the tab hopping and all the things got going on, and the checking of everything and checking in with people. And so one of the first things I did in my personal healing was to read a book, like, and force myself to sit and read a chapter the way that I used to, in a chair away from a computer, and like get back into that, like, and have that be the normal, as opposed to sitting down and being like, yeah, I got like 6 monitors and I've got all the things open. Like I had 2 monitors. I gave my son one of my monitor, and I only have one, because it's like, we're not meant to do all this stuff at once. So yeah, like the focusing on the process and falling back in love with that process is something that's really core to being a calm entrepreneur.
I think that's such an just a poignant thing. I'm relating all this to myself, of course, as I'm sitting here listening. And I think for me, a sign that I'm getting completely, even if I'm not aware of it, of overwhelm or burnt out, is the fact that I can't read fiction in a paperback form. Like I really struggle. I can't read a paragraph or focus on a paragraph, let alone a chapter. You know, I'm trying to get back into it, but I still can't sit down like I used to and read a paperback book. Like I could go read a, you know, category romance 1 or 2 a day, no problem. It's, you just lose that ability, and it's not good. It's really not good. So I think maybe if you're not aware that you're heading that direction, that could be like a little canary in the
coal mine.
In the coal mine, just.
I mean, I've even moved from reading now to audio because I don't have time to read.
I listen to audio at like, you know, and I listen to audio at like 2x if I can. Like it's like I can't even sit down to it one. They're talking too slow. I need to get more done.
Like, stop, get to it. Where are we going?
Stop all of that.
I need to start reading, clearly.
Clearly. That's so funny.
It was a surprising revelation. It was like, oh, I'm just gonna like disconnect and grab a book and go sit down. And I was like, I can't sit still. I have to get up. I gotta go do this. I gotta like, and I had to really, now I love it. Now it's something that is a reward for me, and it's part of my everyday. Like at the end of my day, I do that. I have a chair in my office. Like I could turn you over, and like my reading chair I put in here. But like maybe it is a canary in the coal mine. Like maybe if you can't sit and read something.
Particularly for writers, because I mean, for a huge number of us, that's what kind of ignited our love of writing, or a love of story, or wanting to be a writer, was wanting to replicate that experience for somebody else. You know, if you could give somebody else that escapism. So, you know, that going back to the why is that's an interesting one. I think Cal, the deep work guy, Cal Porter, isn't it?
Newport.
Or am I getting mixed up with Cole Porter?
Newport.
Composer or something?
Cal Newport.
It's Cal Newport. I have it on my shelf.
See, I was kidding. I've been watching a whole lot of
I had to
Broadway.
hold that and look.
I've been watching a whole lot of Broadway Instagram, so it's Cole Porter and Cal Newport. Okay, but
Cal
he
Newport,
talks about that the ability, like when we're just to stand there, for example, in a line or a queue for something, and not take out your phone, just to be happy to be bored, and we've lost that.
Like it's so true. And what is that movie, The Social Dilemma, that talked about the way that the social media software people, the psychologists, whatever, built it to addict us, and we are completely addicted. But to identify that, and like it's funny, I can't tell you, like when I'm like, I'm done with social media, and I delete all the apps off my phone, and then I'm like, well, shit, I got to put that back on Instagram. I need my phone to do the work, right? Because you can't use Instagram without it. And then I'm like, oh, so we're like, it's become such a part of our lives that we can't really separate ourselves from it, but then we get sucked in and we lose the discipline. So it's, it's the work, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Craziness.
I think it's being conscious of what you're doing, isn't it, really? Being, you know.
It's hard to
not
be
just
conscious
doing it
though.
it's habit.
But I think that's it. And I think a lot of what we do, isn't it, as writers and as, you know, entrepreneurs is maybe not habit, but it's kind of routine. Like, you know, you get into this pattern of checking this and doing that and going on to this. And it's sort of, before you know it, the day can be gone and you haven't done, like you say, any activities to move the needle. It's really easy.
I think it also, though, it works with connections with people. I think quite often, like, I mean, Cheryl say to me, you know, you're not locked on. You didn't even hear me saying that, you know, and she's right, because my mind has moved on to the fact that I have to finish this book and I've got to do that. And I know she said something, but she loves me anyway, so she'll put up with me, and on I go. You know,
just not interesting enough.
My husband's the same. He'll say to me, hey, I'm talking here.
Right, where are you?
Hello.
I'm listening with my ears. I'm just doing something else. He said, well, you're not then, are you? You know, like, and that's, I think that's a really, really a thing we've sort of fallen into with social media.
It's incredible. Like, and I just started wearing my Apple Watch again because my girlfriend wants me to do the fitness daily with her, and I need an accountability partner. And so it has a mindfulness thing, and it's like, take a moment to breathe.
Yeah, mine does too.
And you watch it. The first time that came up, I was like, oh my God, how long is this gonna last? Like, and it's like
tell me what to do.
It's like the breathing app on there. It's like, just take a moment to breathe. And I'm like, I haven't got that long. Come on, how long does it take to breathe, you know?
I'll breathe later.
But I mean, like we need, like, I want to turn that on like every 45 to like, because like Cheryl said, we're not even aware. Like, we're not even aware that we're not aware, and we're on autopilot. It's sad, and it's kind of scary because, like, you know, life is passing us by, and like, why are we doing all this crazy stuff if not to live a good full life? So
there's other good moments that you don't want to miss.
Exactly.
So what are some of the other tools that, so we've talked about like the writing it down. So I'm just thinking, if somebody's in that state where, I loved your description of it's all in the head, and that's so true. And that's so true for all the things that we have to do. And the act of bringing it down from the head onto paper is actually a very calming process in itself, because you oftentimes you think the list is going to be longer than it actually is, but it's just because it's been swirling around in your head, you can't kind of get a handle on it. So what would be the kind of the next step after that one?
You know, and I hesitate to share like, this is what you should do, because it's going to be different for everybody, but something that does work for me, there's two things. One is, when you're making your list of all the things that are really happening, how much of those are actually things that are yours, right? Like, because there's going to be a lot of things that you think that are for you, but you're just carrying somebody else's task, right? Or it's a concern about something that's legitimate, but it's not actually a thing that you have to do. So like, that's whenever you have a worry, I think a worry that's something that's out of your control, the answer to that is always journaling. Like journal. Sit down and say, I am unable to stop thinking about this because I'm worried, and then just start, right? But the other thing is, when you have your list and you're trying to figure out like how to stop feeling overwhelmed, is, and I wrote it down, but then I turned all my pages and now I can't find it. You look at your list, and then you sit down and you plant your feet flat on the ground, and you put your hand on your chest, and you put your hand on your belly, and you breathe really, really deep into the bottom of your belly. Like, make sure that your belly is completely filling, and it's almost like they call it breathing into the back of your ribs in yoga. Like, really fill your body, and do that 3 or 4 times until you actually feel your shoulders soften and everything loosen, and like open your mouth, like to exhale. Like, they call it candle breathing. Like, imagine if you had a candle like this far in front of your face, and you are going to exhale, but you don't want to blow the candle out. You want to just make it wobble. So you're going to open your mouth wide and go really slow and soft. And then when you feel like you have come back into your body, look at your list and pick the one next best step. And that can be like doing the dishes. Like
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't have to be work. It can be anything that you can complete. It can be something that you can finish in a day. Make it something, or if it's something that takes a week, like I have to reorganize my entire closet, pick a rack of your closet. Or if you have to write an outline a scene. Like break that task into smaller tasks and smaller tasks and smaller tasks until you can get it done in one sitting. And then when that task is done, get up, well, cross it off the list, and then get up and step outside and do that again with your hands on your chest and your hands on your belly, and do it outside. Like sit on your stoop, sit in a chair out in the sun, or if it's nighttime, do it at night, and just really, really breathe in and get back into, like, feel your body and say, you know, you did it. Okay, let's go back and do the next one, or go to bed and do it again tomorrow, and give yourself a break. You know, like, I think one of the things that I think we don't do enough is pull back to, like, really reassess. Like, I've done it a couple times over the last year because I had to give myself permission to do it. I have a dry erase calendar, like that you can just buy, the laminated calendars. And I no longer even use dry erase markers. I use these little tabs that have my tasks, and then I can peel them off and move them. Like, I don't even have to erase anymore, because it's like, this is something that I've made. I can change it. And there's a difference there, because you have to be responsible, right? You have to follow through and do your things. But if you're looking at your map of what's coming up and you overbooked, you're allowed to recalibrate. Like, you don't have to, you're not married to this. So that's why I said, when you look at your to-do list, look at outside commitments, things that you've promised other people. And if they are absolutely cemented things that you must deliver, then do those first, but break them into even smaller and smaller and smaller chunks until you can actually get them done. That's something that I do on a regular basis, and I teach my kids how to do it. My daughter and my son are both freshmen in college this past year, and it was like, okay, you're gonna be okay. Take a deep breath, like, put your hand, and they're like, Mom, and I'm like, no, seriously, like, this is how it works. You're a human being in a body that's freaking out right now. So
yeah, I think that's fabulous advice.
Yeah,
It's really good.
I think resetting just gives you a cleaner and a fresher outlook on what your purpose is.
Yeah.
For any given time, or just your career, really.
Yep.
Yeah. And so have you guys ever heard of a guy named Ed Mylett, Mylett? His book is called, I'm not wearing my glasses, it's across the room. Hang on.
That's right. You can give us the glasses.
Like The Power of One More.
Okay.
That one.
It's called The Power of One More. And he talks about resetting, and he talks about like changing the way that we look at time. And he talks about how we are living in a 24-hour day. And this is the same kind of day that people have been using for 200, 300, 400 years. Like, why have we not rethought the way that we think about our day? And he talks about breaking his day into 3 days, into 8-hour chunks or 6-hour chunks, however much time he has any day. And he gets up in the morning and he has from 6 a.m. until noon to do whatever he needs to do. And then he gets to noon and it's like, okay, break time, reset, recalibrate. Wow, I blew it. Didn't get anything done that day. Sit back down at 1 o'clock and go until 6. And he's got a whole new fresh start. Like, you can reset at any point. And he feels like, and like one of the tenets of like living is your mindset. His mindset is completely changed about how much time we have. And he doesn't pack all of his days. Like, he's got 3 days in a day. He doesn't pack every day full of work. He takes a day off in the evenings when he gets his daytime work done. So it's this beautiful, like, reframing. And so resetting, you can reset at every hour. You can reset 5 times a day. You can reset twice a week, whatever feels good. If you're like, oh my God, this is not working, stop, give yourself a break and come back. Like, you know, we're in control of all of this. So it's
rethinking, isn't it? It's the rush, you know, rushing to do the washing, rushing to do that, and then sitting down and working, you know, but you've sort of got to rethink that.
You know, it's funny about rushing to do the washing. I learned years ago that I'm one of those people that water, like showering, bathing, running water helps me think.
Me too.
And so now I hand wash the dishes when I know I'm stuck, and that forces me to slow down. So that's something that I'm no longer even allowed to rush through. But when I do it, I put on music. I don't listen to podcasts. I'm not multitasking while I'm doing it. And I'm washing dishes, because I've identified for me, like when I hit a wall on anything, like there's this block that happens. And sometimes it's procrastination, right? And sometimes it's percolation. And when you can identify the difference, then you can give yourself space to go do something to kind of trigger your brain to like let it think. Because who here, I mean, I know that Trudy has. Have you guys done Becca Syme's classes for the strengths?
We did share
paid
so
for
much.
them and then they didn't do them. That's what they did.
Oh my God.
I'm an obliger, so I was obliged to start.
That's funny. So
but it's not us. It didn't suit us. Yeah,
that's funny. I have a list. So I actually use my whiteboard with sticky notes for all of my tasks, and I just changed one of my goals for third quarter to be all the classes that I've purchased that I haven't finished.
I've got a Trello board full of those. Yeah.
Sha needs a couple of years.
Yeah, you know what?
Seriously.
Even if I binge it, even if I don't do it,
yeah.
If I binge it and then I'm like, oh, you know what? I need to go back and do that one. I need to do that because I have too many things sitting up here on deck waiting for my attention.
So that totally stresses me out. Just the thought of having all of that. Courses, books, all that sort of stuff. I'm the other way around. I need to have a very simple existence.
Makes me happy.
Really?
I like looking at my Trello board and I think, look at all that wonderful wisdom I've got access to that I can dip in and out of. Like,
look at that. I'm not going to open the door, but look at all that information.
I can't even read a how-to book. I wouldn't, you know.
But that's the whole point of Becca Syme's stuff, is that everyone is different, and the kind of stuff, like I'm input, so I want to have all the information, and I'd be willing to bet that Cheryl and Wendy are definitely not input, and that they're doers, that whatever the strengths are,
activator strengths, much
activation,
more so.
All that stuff, that would be them, because the pair of them are both really, really good at getting stuff done, and that's their superpowers. And mine is not that.
No, I'm input. Yeah, we're
more learn as we go, you know, to be honest. Cher and I are more.
What do I need to know now?
What do I need to know now? I've cut to that part of whatever I need to do. Learn it, done.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So I think so. Back to the question was like, you know, reset. Like it's, I don't know. And some people work in a really, really well in a cluttered space. So clearing off your desk isn't going to be the answer because that's stressful, right? Like then I'm going to lose track of my stuff. Well, then don't clear off your desk.
I'm so glad you said that, because I always felt really guilty about my desk. And I'm like, but then I clear it. Then I was like, but then I don't know where anything is. And I don't have the comfort of having okay.
No, and some people like prefer to have a notebook with a pen and a list. And some people need to do it on a spreadsheet on the computer. And like, it's so, you know, that's why I'm like, I hesitate to say this is how you do it, because like the answer is different. How about the implementation of the way to do it is different for everybody, and there's no wrong. It really is. It's about like healing the issue that you're having in the moment. So if your desk is a wreck, and I don't even want to say the word wreck because that sounds like a judgment. If your desk has a lot of things on it and you are comfortable in that, then don't clear your desk off, because that's going to cause you more stress.
Yeah,
you know, add a new clean piece of paper on top of the pile. Right?
Oh my God!
I'm show you my desk. It's interesting because it's like I've gone through this whole process of decluttering, and the decluttering has actually been really, really good for me. So I'd gotten to a point where there was too much, but I definitely like having things around me because I feel like it sparks kind of things off me. So I kind of am, whereas I know that the rest of the spa girls are all very much clean, tidy.
The messy trays sparked anxiety, and I finally got around to that last weekend, and I just felt so good, like ridiculously happy.
I can handle clutter behind doors. That doesn't bother me. I'm not like Cheryl, like she doesn't like clutter at all, but I can handle it behind. I just don't want to see it.
Yeah.
Wow,
Gotta
I
be-
can't deal.
But
I
this
can't
is-
deal with knowing it's there.
No,
Yeah.
it doesn't bother me.
But it's about knowing yourself, right? Like that's
Mm.
part of the calm entrepreneur idea. It's like
Mm.
you know what's good and what works for you,
Mm.
and then you
For
do
you.
more of that, and you kind of don't. Yeah, I don't know. Don't do all
You
the
know,
things
yeah,
that-
there's no shame, there's no judgment, and there's no expectation. Like, and I think that that's like one of the things, like, so my 4 children were born within 5, like I had 4 kids under the age of 5. It was,
Shut up.
I had, and they were not multiple, they were all singles when it was, I look back now and I'm like, what the hell was going on? But it was like, I am a very organized individual. And so but the answer to how that worked is the same answer to everything today. It's lower your expectations. Like perfection is not the goal. Like perfection is not a goal. It is a cancer. Like trying to be perfect is gonna kill you. And, you know, I had like one requirement for my kids when we were leaving the house. Like everybody had to have ironed shirts. Like, and I don't care if your pants were ironed. I don't care if you needed to look like somebody cares before we leave the house, because that was our bar, because it was mayhem.
It's a
It was
really high bar. I don't think we have an iron in my
No.
house.
Well, the
It's been a
secret is
while.
that you take them out of the dryer and you don't
Yeah.
crumple them. But everybody had to look pressed when we were leaving for anything. But that was my only thing. Everything else we color coded. Everybody, like my oldest son was like, oh, I need my orange thing, because that was his color when he was little. And he's like, oh, I want to get orange. I'm like, oh, you know. So like you find systems that work, but like lowering your expectations for everything, which does not mean writing poorly. It means, how much am I going to write in a day? And how much can I write in a day versus how much do I want to write in a day? Like I know that, and it's one of my downfalls. Like at my lowest, without even thinking about it, I can write 1,000 words an hour. And I'm one of those people that waits until my deadline is like, oh, it's right there. And I only have 76 hours left in my waking days to get this book written. And if I sit down and do nothing but in my working hours, my 1,000 words an hour, I'll get it done. So I know that if I'm going to write 1,000 words an hour for 3 hours a day, then I can schedule my books out. And then I'm not allowed to go over 3,000 words a day or 2,000 words a day, whatever my day looked like. And that's lowering an expectation, because it's not what's possible, it's what's desirable that matters. Because I also want to have lunch with my kids, and I want to go and watch a movie and do all those other things with my family. So I think that, like, just because you have, we all have 168 hours in a week and we can all do these things, like loading it up to the gills, especially because now everything is remote, and we're all, I think, doing less than we used to do. We're home more. Like several of my friends are like packing their day with, oh my God, I'm going to produce like 45 books this summer. And it's like, oh, I'm going to do one, because, that's no longer a bar of pride. Like, I don't like, and if it is for you, that's groovy. But if it isn't, and you're pushing yourself to maintain some level and you're feeling overwhelmed, then that's where you should look, is the expectations that you've set for yourself. I think, because
there's something about you saying lower your expectations that's kind of like gets me, like I'm sort of like, oh, I don't want to lower my expectations, but
right,
it's not about
thing.
or you don't necessarily have to lower them so much as change them. Maybe like it's about changing the expectations or changing your perspective on it. Like
but that's
actually,
because you're giving the word lowering a negative
I
connotation.
think so too.
Yeah. And that's interesting,
It's
right?
not.
Like
It's a neutral.
Maybe modifying.
But I think that's it, because lowering makes it seem less somehow, whereas modifying,
No, but it
for
does
example,
to you. It does it to me.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's what I'm
there you
saying.
go.
We've got a
No,
kind
Trudy, that's what you think.
Yeah. So different people will put, I guess, their spin around.
so
Well, not their spin, but their interpretation.
Well, it's not lower as in lower quality. It's lower as in lower production. Like
And
lower
that's what I'm That's what I'm getting in my head. I'm hearing lower expectations, and I'm like, oh, lower quality, lower, you know, like lower
effort
or something.
Anything. Well, so it's not a value judgment. So let's change, like find, and again, like that's one of those things. Like if the word is problematic for you, like how about we ease up on the expectations and make that something that you say instead of lowering your expectations? Because I'm not lowering my expectations. I'm still doing the best work. I'm just doing less of it.
Yeah.
How about you're crafting a product in a
mindful,
timeless way? You know, like crafting a cheese or crafting wine rather than, you know, mass production kind of line kind of thing. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on where you're at. Like I'm my whole burnout journey comes from this push that we had several years ago, where writing to market was the way to go, and it was everybody. And I honestly don't even know if that's still a thing, because I am no longer engaged in that conversation, so it just kind of blows by. But because that's not for me anymore, and I realized that, and that felt so light. That felt like a breath. When I was like, oh, I'm just going to take myself off that, you know, we're on like a zip line with I'm going to just take my hook off that line and attach it to this one over here with the sloths, because I have to move. And when I did that though, I moved super duper slow until I ramped back up into productivity, because it was this recovery process and it felt like recovery. And then I talked to myself using the language of recovery, because I wanted to like really get it into my body that I am recovering from whatever that was, you know, and it's recovering from a way of thinking, and it's from a way of doing, and from a way of like treating myself, because I wasn't treating myself well.
I think it's still there, just in terms of, because I like to kind of keep a macro view of the whole indie publishing world, just because that feeds my need for input. And I think it's probably always going to be there in some ways as well.
The rapid release thing?
Yeah, just that I think, but because I think when you're playing with algorithms, if you like, and I mean playing in terms of interacting with, there's always going to be let's face it, everything computing technology, it's all about going faster. Everything's faster, the search engine's faster, the Amazon ability to learn your buying habits everything gets faster. So my sense is that there's always going to be part of the writing community will be engaged in that. But then I think, like you're saying with the zip line, I think there'll be people, and I mean, I'm not criticizing them, because I mean, you know, sometimes we like going to the, you know, the fairground and riding on the roller coaster or whatever. But whether it's sustainable or not is another thing. And it's just about, you know, I mean, some people will never get on it, but
Everyone's
I just feel that there's always going to be people that will be getting to the point of, and we've talked to a lot of authors, particularly over the last 2 years. I think this is, if nothing else, a worldwide global pandemic has made people really question their whys and how they work and what they do. And, you know, suddenly having family at home. I mean, I can't imagine how people have coped with children at home, trying to homeschool and everything else. And it kind of throws into question a whole lot of these things. So it's an interesting time to be a writer, as they say.
It is. And you know what? And you also did hit the nail on the head with that. Like, there are going to be people for whom rapid release and writing like the wind really does
absolutely feed them. Yeah.
It's all very subjective. So
but if it's not working for you, if you're listening to this and it's not working for you, Calm Entrepreneur might be for you.
Right. There's alternatives. There's different, there's, you know, and there's that comparison piece again, like, oh my God, everybody's doing this. You know, and I want to do that with them. And this is what it takes, because that's really what it is. There's no like silver bullet. Like, you either do it this way or you do it that way. Like, it's, so I don't know.
Many ways to make it work for you.
And that's something that we constantly hammer home in this podcast, is about this many ways up the mountain. And I think maybe for somebody entering the indie space now, and you see, for example, maybe you stumble into a group where it is all about rapid release, you think that's the one and only way, and you have to do it that way. And I think that's the danger. You know, when you've got a bit more experience under you, about like us ladies, it's sort of, you realize that there's many ways. So we try and emphasize that.
But that's, you know, and that's part of the journey too. Like, it's, I don't know, you don't know what you know until you know it, and then you're like, oh,
exactly.
That's so
there's
true.
more stuff to know. So before we're rolling around into the end of the podcast, but I really want to talk about your productivity planner, because I'm kind of intrigued by that. So how did that come about? And can you talk about
Speaking
that
about
show and tell, please.
Speaking about not being productive, I have a productive planner.
Mm-hmm.
So I have another business that this has been going on for 5 years. I think 2017 was the first one. So this started because I made a planner for myself, because I like having a paper planner, and I made one for myself, and then I had it bound at the print shop, and I brought it to a writer group that I was meeting with locally years ago, and everyone was like, I need one of those. And then I made like 5 or 6, and then they're like, well, so-and-so wants one, and so, and then it became a thing. And now you can look at authorproductivity.com, and I'm actually going to be rolling that under, I'm starting a whole new thing, a bigger umbrella under which all these things are going to go. So one day you'll go to author productivity and it'll bring you somewhere else, but that's still okay. But this is a publishing planner for indie authors. And I don't know if you want me to start going into like the different things that are inside it. Did you want me to do that really quickly?
Just quickly mention what's there, like why is it specifically for indie authors? What's in there that we can use specifically?
She says as if it's not for authors.
Well, there's so many productivity things out there, but this is specifically for authors, which I think
so. This is one day during my burnout where I was like, I have to get all this stuff done.
I love the giant red crunch time in capital letters written there.
So
it just incites anxiety just in looking at that part, let alone the details.
Gosh. Okay, so it has I'll try to find a clean one from further into the future.
So if you're listening to this on audio, you need to go to the YouTube and have a quick look to see what Corinne's holding out. But
it has a month at a glance, right? And then it has the weekly stuff. But so at a monthly basis, there's a page here that talks about your monthly goals, and it breaks it out for launches this month, special promotions that you're running this month, goals with writing, editing, and any other. And then if you have your newsletters going out this month, it asks what the calls to action are in each of your newsletters. If you're doing giveaways and contests, it helps you track whether or not you've actually closed it and then awarded the prize, which I know is a thing that we authors always forget to do. If you're doing swaps, you can track who's swapping, and if you're receiving swaps or giving a swap this month, who you're getting your data from. And if you're booking promotions, it helps you track spending for promotions and any other kind of spending that you're doing on a monthly basis. And then when you pop into the weekly, which is actually daily, it has blocks for focus here. So you could, if you write in 30-minute blocks or 60-minute blocks, you know, it has room for that. Word count daily, editing count daily. And then down at the bottom, it has like social media, newsletter, blog, Facebook group, a checklist for all the different kinds of things that you could be doing.
Brilliant.
Let's see what else.
That's all in one space. That's
all in one space.
That we need to do.
Everything you need.
Yeah. And in the back, it has, this is for publishing a book. And what this is your ARC team stuff, the graphics that you need before you launch, because you're gonna need all that social media stuff. Like, I don't know, like I was launching a book and I was like, oh, I need to put that on, like, you know, my media kit. I need to send this to Instagram. I need to do this to my assistant and do this, that, and the next thing. And then it's like, oh, but I gotta make those graphics first. I gotta do this. So this kind of puts that in order. Like, these are the things that you need before you even start talking about your book. If you're doing booking promotions and other things, you need to have this information in like a document. This is launch week promotion. Like if you're doing your segmented list and you're breaking it out weekly or daily. Paid promotions that are just for the launch, and then how you're sending out your email newsletters. And then over here is where you've uploaded it, what your pricing is, if you've done it, if it's the final copy, like all that kind of stuff. And then here's all the parts of the book that you need to have formatted and all that. And then the keywords for the metadata for this particular title. And there's a whole bunch of those.
It all.
This is basically, it's like an operations manual.
It's an operations manual for an indie author. Yeah.
And how wonderful to have that, so you can actually look back too, not just as you're working, but also look back on, you know.
You know what? I remember I did some kind of, I was doing something for my accountant and I was producing all this reporting, and I went back in time and I saw that I'd given away like thousands of copies of a book, and I was like, did I get pirated? Like, oh my God. And like, it's in Amazon. Like, how am I going to get pirated? But I had no memory of doing that. And I went back to my planner. I was like, oh yeah, I ran a promotion. I forgot all about that. And then there's this annual blank, really year at a glance. And this is for if you are doing series promotions and you do something in, like I have witches, so I do a lot of stuff around Halloween, and or if you're blogging and you do themes, or you're podcasting and you have different things and you want to look at it at a yearly, anything that you want to plan on an annual basis. And then I have a section in the back where if I've given away a paperback, signed paperback to people, I make a list of who those people are, so that if they're, because you know how we do takeovers and people, it's this, like you see the same name sometimes and you don't want to give them the same book. You want to make sure that if they win, they get something different. You can keep track of who you give stuff away to. Yeah. And then
all of you're just blowing my mind.
All of my Post-it notes from my whiteboard after the quarter's over go in here, so I don't forget, because that's actually like, look at all I did. Look at everything I did.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's my planner.
That's fantastic. So we've already given the website address if someone wants to look further into the planner, and we come on.
So that was authorproductivity.com, just to.
It was, yeah, authorproductivity.com.
And then for the calm entrepreneur, I find that really hard to say. I don't know. I'm
sorry. So I'm changing it to something simpler, but I don't even know if I should bother sharing it because I don't have anything out for the new one, but the new one's much easier to say. Okay. But the Calm Entrepreneur is at thecalmentrepreneur.com.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. So I think that's the podcast for now. So thank you very much for joining us. We know where to find you if we are going to stalk you and find out all about you. Actually, what's your website for your fiction for Corinne?
It's CorinneO'Flynn.com, and that's 2 N's in both of my names. There's no double R. Corinne O'Flynn.
Okay. That's cool. That's awesome. And anyone wants to find out more, they can go to the website. Where can we go for us?
We're at spargirlspodcast.com, and shout out to all the people, our new patrons on patreon.com/spargirlspodcast. Thank you so much. It's great to have you join us and join our community.
Yeah, that's awesome. And thank you again for joining us on the Spa Girls podcast this week, Corinne. It's been great to have you. And thank you all for the listeners joining us again this week. We've loved having you here with us, and we will be back again next week. But for now, farewell.
Bye.
Well,
bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.